Having faith that things will work out great is such an important trait to develop. Without it, there are simply too many rejections, obstacles, and doubts that can come along with being a musician to keep going. Let's look at what faith is for a moment. It is easy to instantly identify the word faith as directly related to religion, but it is actually something that is essential no matter what your spiritual religious beliefs or non beliefs. Faith is putting confidence into the thought that something you are hoping for will happen, despite facing obstacles that could prevent the outcome from happening. The progression of the world is built on faith. If the Wright brothers did not have faith in their abilities, they would never have flown. If Edison had no faith in his pursuits, he would not have transformed the world with the incandescent light bulb as he did. Bring it back to a day-to-day level, and you will see that faith is so important to a musician's success, whether you are a grassroots muso or a worldwide superstar. Although fans only often see the end result or highlight reel of a musician's output, we all know that there is a lot more going on behind the scenes. Things as seemingly simple as hiring a new band member can be a daunting task. Often it feels like there are 10,000 guitarists in your area but no decent drummers or bass players. Accepting someone into your lineup can present to you with some important questions that could go either way. Is the new person reliable? Will they turn up each time? Are they fun to work with? Do they bring any issues or baggage with them? It's not hard to have doubts or feel uncertainty, especially if your track record with hiring new band members has not been good. But after using your better judgment, faith is then needed to let the relationship develop. A few years ago, I created an event called the New Zealand Underground Festival. I was sick of hearing the same bands over and over again on radio all of the time, and wanted to showcase local talent that was truly deserving but slipping under the radar. The event was a success, but had I not consciously used faith, it would never have happened. The New Zealand Underground Festival was funded totally from my own pocket, which had a budget of $0 at the time. There were certainly a lot of setbacks. A sideshow guy charged me more on the day than he had quoted. Organisations were not fully supportive because as it was the festival's first year, they had not heard of it before. The weather was unpredictable leading up to the event. There were 5 other festivals in close proximity on that day. Setbacks with musicians pulling out and a whole myriad of other organisational dilemmas. But I had faith and it served its purpose. Musicians joined bands that they met at the festival, ended up on radio, and even topped the Reverb Nation charts. I faced many doubts, but my faith that it needed to happen is what got me through. Bands must use faith in a similar way when touring as a self-managed act. Hopefully they set a budget first, but there are things that remain out of their control. A sudden change in weather, sickness of bandmates, even sabotage. Though to think of these possibilities and let them stop the tour would be silly. You have to have faith that it will work and that you can handle what comes your way. Another personal example of a time where I needed to use faith is when I travelled to the United States from New Zealand for a live event of a course I was studying. The event itself was over 2 or 3 days, but the flights I could get meant that I had to stay for a day each side of that as well in order to get a flight home. This resulted in having to stay for 5 days. This sounds great, but at the time I didn't have enough money to stay that long. I didn't actually have enough money to stay at all. But thanks to the amazing generosity of a fellow course member, I was able to share a room. Day 4 of my stay came around and my generous roomie left for their hometown. I was left in the USA not knowing how I would stay an extra night and planning on sleeping outside. I entered the last day of the seminar and we were shown the card exercise I now share in my seminars. It's basically an exercise where you stand up and announce what project you are pursuing and where you need help. The rest of the class writes down how they can help, and each person has a go at speaking. My turn came around and I nervously stood up and said that I was planning a music tour and other related projects, but just didn't have the money. I needed financial help, whether that be with money itself or the knowledge of how to earn it. I didn't mention the fact that I did not know how I would stay in a bed that night and was hungry, but it was playing in the back of my mind. I had big dreams, but some good-sized obstacles at that point too. After the exercise, one of the head coaches came up to me and handed me an envelope with a card inside. He told me to open the card later, but it didn't last long before curiosity got the better of me and I had a look inside. The coach had written a beautiful note saying that he believed in me and that someday I would help a lot of people. Inside the card was $200, just enough for me to stay another night at the seminar venue and get to the airport to get home. Now, I don't know what you would call that, but I'm sure glad that I had the faith that it would work and that someone else had faith in me. So check yourself now and think, do you have faith in yourself? It may have been cast aside for a while due to rejections, obstacles, or life's hurdles, but that's all part of the journey. You can always get faith in yourself back as well. Sometimes you just need to flick the switch. I'm Ryan Kershaw, and this is Musicians' Values.